Hello, everyone. Welcome to this learning session. I'm Miss Robin, and I am so excited to be here with you today. I want you to think about fractions for a moment. What are fractions? What do you know about fractions? How do you complete calculations with fractions? Now that you've thought about fractions, I want you to think about how fractions relate to decimals. What is a decimal? Great answers. Decimals are numbers that represent a part of a whole and are written in a specific way. That sounds a lot like a fraction. I wonder how they're related. Before we get started, let's review the place value chart. I think that will help us. Each place is labeled and determines the value of the digit in that place. Each place to the left is 10 times greater than the place to the right. On this chart, I have added 2 place values to the right of the decimal, which means they are valued at less than 1. They are tenths and hundredths. They still follow the same base 10 pattern as the whole numbers. Tenths is 10 times bigger than hundredths. I have a chart that I would like to put in my classroom, but it's missing some information. Would you help me fill it in so my students have it as a reference? You will? Great. I really appreciate it. Let's look at the heading of the chart. Fractions and decimals. I think that means that this chart will be about fractions and decimals. The headings on the columns say model, fraction, and decimal. Looking at the information that is already in each column, I know what information we are going to need to fill in. The first row is completed for us. Let's take a closer look. The model is of a whole, divided into 10 equal pieces and 1 shaded. We already know that represents what fraction? Exactly, 1/10. And the fraction column has that written. The decimal column has it written as well. I know from looking at the place value chart that in the decimal version of 1/10, the digit 1 must be placed in the tenths place for it to have that value. Let's fill in the rest of this chart. In the next row, the fraction is there, so I know it is 2/10. What does the model look like for this one? It should look like this. What about the decimal? I know that in the place value chart, tenths are the first place to the right of the decimal, so I know that because I have 2/10, I need to place the 2 in that place value, just like this. In the next row, the model and the decimal are there. Let's think about the fraction. Looking at the model, I see a whole divided into 100 equal pieces. Wow, that's different. Look how small those pieces are. A column is equal to 10 equal pieces, and there are 3 full columns. And then let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4 additional pieces are shaded. Using our fraction knowledge, we know that as a fraction, we would write the denominator as the total number of pieces, and the numerator is the shaded region. So that would be 34 100ths. That was neat, our first hundredths fraction. In the next row, we are missing the fraction and the decimal. Again, I can use the model to fill in the chart. Can you write 4/10 as a fraction and a decimal? Great work. Let's put those up too. Now, the next row has the fraction only, 53 100ths. What would the model for that look like? Great job. 5 full rows shaded and 3 from the next column. This model looks different. It's 2 models actually. Well, it's the only thing in the chart, so we should probably examine it a little closer. It looks like it has the first model added to the next model. Well, I can see in the first model that is representing what fraction? Great job, 27 100ths. The other model is representing what fraction? Wonderful, 4/10. Can we write this in fraction form? Absolutely. We just write each model's value in fraction form and put a plus sign in the middle. What about in decimal form? You got it, the exact same. Write the model value in decimal form for each decimal and place a plus sign between them. Well, now I need to solve this expression, but I can't add 27 100ths and 4/10 together. Their denominators are different. Does anyone have an idea? Wonderful idea. Let's make an equivalent fraction with the tenths to hundredths. I can see that there's a relationship between these values from the place value chart and the models we have done so far. We can divide each tenth into 10 equal pieces, and that will give us hundredths. After that, I can rewrite the fractions and the decimals to match the new model. So what is 27 100ths plus 40 100ths? 67 100ths. Great job. Let's make a model for that and place it on the chart as well. Now, let's look at a word problem to help us further understand working with tenths and hundredths. Ben and Tom are collecting trading cards. Ben has 4 tenths of the collection and Tom has 53 hundredths of the collection. What fraction of the collection do they have left in order to have all the cards? Okay, explorers, first question, what are we trying to find out? Exactly. What fraction of the collection do Ben and Tom have left to collect? So what do we know? Yes, indeed. Ben has 4 tenths of the collection already, and Tom has 53 hundredths of the collection. What should we do next to answer this question? Yes, add their individual collections together. So that's 4 tenths plus 53 hundredths. Uh-oh, we don't have the same denominator, but I know that tenths and hundredths are related. If we divide each tenth into 10 pieces, we will create hundredths, and that will be 40 hundredths. Now we can add them together. 40 100ths plus 53 100ths is 93 100ths. Wow, great work. However, the question wants to know what fraction of the collection they still need. So how many hundredths is it from 93 hundredths to 100 100ths? 7 100ths, great job. Okay, let's do one more. Travis and David each had some change in their pocket. Travis had 4 tenths of a dollar. David had 9 100ths of a dollar. David said he had more money than Travis because 9 is bigger than 4. Is David correct? So what is the question asking us to do? Yes, we need to determine if David is correct. What do we know? Yes, we know that Travis has 4 tenths of a dollar and David has 9 hundredths of a dollar. David has a point that 9 is larger than 4. Do you think he's correct? Let's do some work and find out. First, let's look at what we know. We can't compare tenths and hundredths, first of all, because the pieces are not the same size. Let's look at a model for 4 tenths. Now let's look at a model for 9 100ths. We can easily see that 4 tenths is larger, but what is 4 tenths in hundredths? I know I can create hundredths with tenths by dividing each tenth into 10 equal pieces. That would be 40 100ths. It looks like David is incorrect and Travis has more money. What a packed learning session. Thank you for helping me with the chart. We learned so much today. We learned that fractions and decimals can represent the same values and that we can find equivalent fractions between tenths and hundredths relatively simply. Nice job. Thanks for tuning in, Math Explorers. Till next time.